Day 6, we're back up here at T-Mobile's headquarters at Warren and the Tollway, and I'm gonna do some more sign work and do some more ranting. We got something else to celebrate. Today's actually 1 year from when I posted my story, how bathrooms work, etc., etc. I mean, it's wild. The guide's on my website and my social media. You should go check it out. I can't recite it off the top of my head, which I'm happy that thing's not stuck in my head, but yeah. And so this is actually, this story too was the first story that I had kind of a bigger name or somebody that I looked up to share it. So Alex Stein, Primetime 99, is a well-known, I'm gonna call him a conservative influencer. He used to be, he didn't really have like a political party, but now he's 100% a conservative influencer. And he shared my story. Whoo, wind blew me off a little there. He shared my story when I posted it in December. And I was excited because this was a guy that I really looked up to. Like, I learned a lot of my trolling, from him, because he's really a professional political, current events troll. He would go to the city halls and dance and do songs about the vaccine and troll the mayor to his face. Pretty wild stuff. But yeah, he, and then months later, I find out he unfollowed me, and I'm like, why the hell did he unfollow me? Come to find out, so there's a smaller carrier named Patriot Mobile. They're actually based here out of Dallas, and they are America's conservative wireless carrier. And so they focus on the First Amendment and Second Amendment and Christianity. And what they do is they hide the fact that they use T-Mobile's network for their network. So the other day I told you how the wireless industry works a little bit. There's only 3 major networks in the United States. You have Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile. It's not in any special order. Those are just the big 3. Any other smaller provider is using one of those networks. They just rent space from them. So, Cricket, Boost, Patriot, Simple Mobile, there's so many to name. They all are running on one of those 3 networks. Well, Patriot Mobile was partnered with Sprint. And then, of course, the T-Mobile and Sprint merger went through in 2020. So that meant Patriot Mobile was now partnered with T-Mobile. Do you guys remember in 2022 when the culture wars were heating up big time? It was, I think Roe v. Wade was overturned. And then there was a lot of talk about about children and transgender surgeries and stuff. Anyway, there was a big culture war going on in 2022, and somebody started a petition for T-Mobile to drop Patriot Mobile, and it was on change.org. And it didn't get too many signatures, but a lot of news outlets picked it up, and so that was definitely bad publicity for T-Mobile and Patriot. So what they did is they went to the drawing board and created a new narrative. So now Patriot Mobile's narrative, they changed. Instead of running on T-Mobile's network, they say they run on all major carriers' network, which is really just the same thing that was going on. So like, for example, T-Mobile, I have T-Mobile, but they also have roaming agreements with AT&T and Verizon. So there may be some places in the United States where I'm on AT&T or Verizon's network. So technically, as a T-Mobile customer, I use all 3 major networks, just like Patriot Mobile shifted their messaging. And so Patriot Mobile is probably one of the bigger sponsors in the conservative movement. I mean, they're the major wireless carrier for the conservative movement. And so once I started exposing T-Mobile, I started reaching out to all these conservative influencers, like, why are they not helping me? And then I realized T-Mobile had me checkmated there, because Patriot Mobile is T-Mobile's network. And Patriot Mobile can't let all these conservatives know that they use America's transgender network. Like, you have America's conservative wireless carrier using Transmobile's network. Wild. So yeah, that's why Alex Stein unfollowed me, I'm sure. Blaze TV, all these. There's a big conservative movement in Dallas. You know what? All of these guys should already had me on their show. I mean, I'm talking about T-Mobile's environmental social governance policies, their diversity, equity, inclusion, how they use transgender to divide America, stock sales, censorship. I'm exposing how T-Mobile censored text messages during COVID when Google and Facebook were also censoring COVID information. Yeah, T-Mobile completely got away with it. Yeah, I exposed that. Man, the shit I've exposed is wild. And what's even crazier is all those people like Alex Stein, Blaze TV, all these conservatives that are bragging about how they care about America and they're fighting back and they're killing ESG and DNI. They've all blocked me. They all blocked me for exposing T-Mobile. They won't help share my story. That's why I learned, I already learned I don't need, when I started on this, my goal was to get on Rogan. My goal was to get, on Tim Dillon's show. My goal was to be a big name on X in this conservative movement because I saw these people that were super cool and I wanted to be on their team fighting for America. And now I realize they're all paid for sellouts. They all sell freedom fighter merchandise. They got t-shirts. They sell, now they're selling ivermectin. They have these COVID kits. They're selling ivermectin for a couple $100. That shit's like $4 in Mexico, dude. The conservative movement is just like a big scam now, dude. And that's what people don't understand. The reason why there's a lot of independents and conservative is because that's where all the money is, dude. People go where the money goes. There's a guy named Matt Kim. He's got a big following on Instagram. And he's same thing. I joined into his little group on Discord and I shared my story. That was my expose on T-Mobile, and he immediately dissed me, dude. He's like saying how I'm just some disgruntled employee, pissed off and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you didn't even read it, dude. That's like the complete opposite of what's going on. And so then, come to find out, I started digging into him. He's brand new to the conservative movement, probably has a couple 100,000 followers on Instagram and everything, and he switches teams all the time. He goes from Team DeSantis to Team Trump, back to Vivek. I mean, maybe not Vivek, but he switches back and forth between DeSantis and Trump, whichever one's gonna pay him the most at that time. Well, then I go find out this dude, he's owned a lighting company. He's one of those dudes that's had a few Lambos and posts pictures of him and his Lambos and all this stuff before he was in the conservative movement. He took out PPP loans for his lighting company. So while he's driving around in Lambos, pretending to be this cool conservative guy, he took PPP loans out too. Wild, man. So many fake people in this world, dude. Whew. Well, I think that's enough ranting. I don't know what else I can rant about. I got family drama again. I could talk about that, but I don't even want to talk about that, man. I'm so tired of it. So tired of the bullshit, dude. It's crazy how many people just won't, don't want me to be me. I tweeted this couple things. The U.S. government could come to my house right now and arrest me without reason, and my family wouldn't care. My family would be like, oh, he deserved it. He's saying crazy stuff. That's why I cut my family off. I'm done with them. No more. No more access to me. If I don't trust you, you ain't in my circle. Anyway, I'm going to do a little bit more sign work. I don't want to sit here and just rant too long. I want to prove my point that this is day 6 up here at the T-Mobile office in Frisco, Texas, holding signs. And maybe tomorrow will be day 7. We'll see.